Today guys, in this video, we're going to be looking at Anthony Hopkins' story from drunk to completely sober. He's not drank for many years, and today I'll be sharing exactly how he did it to inspire you on your journey to getting alcohol free. And before we get into it guys, if you actually want my personal help stopping drinking, please click the link in the description and book a call. You and I can jump on a call together and see if the Sober Clear program could be a good match, where we help you reframe the way you view alcohol using first principles thinking. This works if you've tried things like AA, therapy, rehab, etc. already. It's a totally different way to do things. So if you want more details, click the link in the description. And now let's get into the video. When we talk about Hollywood legends, it is difficult to beat Sir Philip Anthony Hopkins. Widely considered to be one of the best actors of all time, the Welshman has picked up just about every award, prize, distinction, and nomination there is, and then some. Nominated for the Academy Awards a whopping 6 times, he has picked up 2 of the Oscars. First for his work in 1992's The Silence of the Lambs, where he plays a genius psychiatrist turned psychopathic killer, and more recently in 2021. For his role in The Father, where he plays a demented elderly person. At 83 years of age, this second award made him the oldest recipient of the Best Actor award in history. He's also won 4 BAFTAs, 2 Emmys, and has been nominated for 8 Golden Globes. In 1993, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him for his services to the arts, his second royal award following a 1987 CBE. As you can imagine, along with all the awards and distinctions, Sir Hopkins has become a very wealthy man. His net worth is an estimated $160 million. Now, Hopkins was born in the small seaside community of Port Talbot, Wales in 1937. Incidentally, this small town is the birthplace of another Hollywood legend, the late Richard Burton. The only child to a baker and a housewife, the young Anthony showed his penchant for the creative arts from a young age. His parents and teachers soon found that he enjoyed writing, drawing, and the piano much more than schoolwork. When he was 12, his parents sent him to boarding school, hoping that it would shore up his grades. It didn't work, and he continued to suffer academically. After finishing school, he one day walked into a local YMCA, where they had an amateur acting group. He describes being on that stage as the first time in his life that he felt comfortable. It was then that he knew his future was in acting. After graduating from the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama in Cardiff in 1957, the aspiring actor would then go on to study at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London. Alumni of this prestigious institution include famous actors like Richard Attenborough, Sean Bean, Timothy Dalton, and more. After some early theatre work, Hopkins would get his first break on the silver screen with 1968's The Lion in Winter alongside Katharine Hepburn and Peter O'Toole. The film was a success at the box office and racked up 3 Academy Awards. Now, from a young age, Hopkins was exposed to alcohol. It started with his father, who he has described as an alcoholic. His father would go through periods of abstinence before hitting the bottle with full force, at which point his personality would change, becoming a nasty and unpleasant man. In his younger years, Hopkins was an occasional drinker. But in the 1960s, as he was taking his first steps in film, his drinking worsened. This did not go unnoticed by those around him. Laurence Olivier himself told Hopkins that he was a talented guy and asked him why he was doing this to himself. He then sent him to a psychiatrist, who told him that he was suffering from, quote, creative tension related to being an actor. Now, Hopkins has described drinking as giving him some confidence, but also fueling his rage and anger. As the years went by, he became angrier and angrier, which led to his drinking more in order to get rid of the anger. He has described how he could empty an entire room by insulting every single person present. And it was also around this time that he was playing an alcoholic in a television play. The story was about a man who destroyed his relationship and life through drinking. While filming, Hopkins came to a stunning realization. He was an alcoholic himself, no different from the character that he was playing, but he was still not ready for a change. In 1974, he left the UK for New York, where he discovered that the bars never seemed to close down. He would drink until he, quote, fell off the bar stool. While his career was taking off, his drinking was becoming worse, and he felt deeply unhappy. Now, in the summer of 1975, the play that he was working on was close to finishing, and Hopkins was about to leave New York for California. Whilst working on that play, he became closer to a co-worker on the set called Mary. He describes her as a wonderful woman with a warm heart and a great sense of humor. Over lunch one day, Mary described alcoholism as an illness with 3 aspects: mental, physical, and spiritual illness. She said, if you don't take the first drink, you won't get drunk. Mary then invited him to an AA meeting. He refused, adamant that he could sort out the problem himself. He managed to abstain from alcohol for 6 weeks. He describes himself as very comfortable during that time without cravings. He started feeling great and was full of energy. Before long, people started commenting on his improved appearance. His last night in New York, however, he went to a farewell party that somebody threw for him. He thought to himself, one whiskey won't hurt. And that was the last thing he remembers from that night. The next morning, he flew to California in really bad shape. Again, he managed to stay sober for a few weeks before eventually going on a new drinking spree. Now, in Christmas of 1975, Hopkins took his wife to the airport so she could catch a flight back to the UK and be with her family for the holidays. And he told her at the airport, "I think I'm an alcoholic." "Maybe you are. It's up to you," she replied. Her cold reply stunned Hopkins. By his own admission, his wife had put everything that she had into that marriage. Now he saw that his drinking was on the verge of destroying it all. As his wife walked away to the gate, Hopkins felt that he was losing his wife, his friends, and his entire life. He drove back to his apartment, a very depressed man. Now, after a few more drunk days and lots of time spent thinking, he decided that it was time to take the big step. That Monday morning, he walked to his closest AA branch. He expected to see old people and drunks lying around, but there was nothing of the kind. The lady at the reception repeated the same phrase that Mary had told him some months earlier. "If you don't take that first drink, you won't get drunk." Then she said something that stuck with him for the rest of his life. "Why don't you just trust in God?" At that moment, something clicked inside him, and he realized that it was all over. He knew that the drinking part of his life was behind him, and as he made his way back home, he felt that it had all been for a reason. The cravings left that day and never came back. That very same night, he went to his first AA meeting and thought to himself, "I've finally come home." All his life, 37 years, he had felt like an outsider. But in that big room, they were all the same. They were all in the same boat, all of them outsiders. This was the 29th of December, 1975. Fully 45 years later, in December of 2020, Sir Anthony Hopkins uploaded this inspirational message on social media.
Hello everyone, good morning. Well, New Year is coming. It's been a tough year, full of grief and sadness for many, many, many people. But 45 years ago today, I had a wake-up call. I was heading for disaster. Drinking myself to death. I'm not preachy, but I got a message, a little thought that said, "Do you want to live or die?" And I said, "I want to live." And suddenly the relief came, and my life has been amazing. And I have my off days and sometimes little bits of doubt and all that. But all in all, I say, hang in there. Today is the tomorrow you were so worried about yesterday. You young people, don't give up. Just keep in there. Just keep fighting. Be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid. And that sustained me through my life. And that's all I've got to say. A Happy New Year. This is going to be the best year.
What a beautiful, beautiful message. Sometimes the simplest words are the most powerful ones. Now, Hopkins would go on to attend AA meetings for many years. And when people ask him, how does AA work? His answer is very simple. It works very well, thanks.